The alien students sat in silent rows, eyes wide with astonishment as the holographic projector brought images of Earth's history to life in vivid, three-dimensional detail. As they watched, they struggled to process the intensity of the battles, the scale of destruction, and the fierce expressions on the human faces that appeared before them. They had come to study Earth's cultures and expected to encounter strange customs, curious technologies, and perhaps a few quaint misunderstandings. But none of them had anticipated the blood-stained chronicles of Earth's combat history. It began with primitive tribes, wielding sharpened stones and spears made from flint, fighting for survival. The alien students flinched, their translucent, webbed hands twitching in shock, as they saw early humans hurl themselves into conflict over resources, territory, or even honor. It was a concept nearly alien to them. Each one hailed from a civilization where conflict was resolved through complex debates or intricate negotiations, designed to appease both parties and avoid harm. Physical combat was an ancient, practically forgotten relic of their own species, a last resort so seldom employed that it was nearly mythic. But humans, the instructor explained, seemed to be unique in their reliance on violence as a means of shaping their world. The images continued, detailing the clash of armies that rose as Earth's civilizations grew. There were lines of soldiers clashing in the ancient Greek and Roman empires, iron swords clanging as shields split, and human voices raised in cries of triumph or agony. The alien students recoiled slightly at the holographic display as it depicted humanity's various martial innovations, bows and arrows, catapults, and eventually cannons. Each advancement seemed to amplify the devastation, yet humanity's hunger for progress in warfare persisted. Their instructor, a veteran xenohistorian from the planet Solarii, continued explaining Earth's centuries of conflict with a detached, analytical tone. In their year 1914, Earth experienced a war of unprecedented scale. They called it the Great War. Imagine, if you will, a global conflict drawing in countless nations across their world, each racing to build greater and more powerful weapons. The hologram displayed vast networks of trenches scarred across the land, artillery booming, and soldiers emerging only to be met by clouds of poison gas and the relentless gunfire of early machine guns. The alien students gasped, a few glanced nervously at each other, their smooth, iridescent skin rippling with unease. One student, known as Serelix, raised a clawed hand, their voice trembling slightly as they spoke. But why did they not negotiate? Why such destruction over what seems trivial? The instructor's eyes held a somber gleam as he looked at Serelix. That is the core of human history, young one. They have often found reasons, often unimaginable to us, to see other groups as a threat to their survival, their beliefs, or their pride. Humans, you see, do not fear war the way many other species do. For them, war has become a means to achieve dominance, defend ideals, or demand resources. The hologram shifted again, bringing forth images of World War II. The alien students could barely look as images of ruined cities, scarred landscapes, and humans starving in squalor filled the room. They saw the explosive fury of tanks, the roar of aircraft, and, finally, the ominous shadow of a mushroom cloud rising over a city. Serelix covered their eyes, their minds struggling to comprehend the thought of a single device capable of obliterating so much life in an instant. And yet, despite all this devastation, humanity continues to evolve, the instructor said, moving forward in history. Wars still occur, though fewer with every passing century. They have spent ages seeking peace yet find themselves repeatedly pulled back into conflict, driven by a thirst for power, fear of the unknown, or beliefs that define their existence. Perhaps it is a lesson they have yet to fully learn. One of the students, a small, quiet creature with shimmering, emerald scales, asked, "Is there hope for them?" The room fell silent as the question lingered. The instructor paused, considering their answer carefully. "There is," he said, his voice softer. "Humans have created institutions and agreements to try to prevent such destruction. They have organizations dedicated to diplomacy, people who dedicate their lives to peace, and movements that speak against violence. Despite all the dark chapters in their history, they continue to strive for a world free of war." The aliens nodded, some now gazing at the images with a sense of sympathy rather than shock. The history of Earth's wars was a terrifying thing, but beneath it, they sensed a glimmer of resilience. Humanity, it seemed, was still learning. Perhaps one day they would find a way to end the cycle for good. The alien students filed out of the classroom, each lost in thought, carrying with them a new understanding of a species as complex as the wars they waged, and perhaps, in time, they might offer their own knowledge to help Earth find its way to peace. As they exited the lecture hall, some alien students lingered by the holographic display, now showing scenes of Earth's more recent attempts at global unity. They saw human leaders meeting at grand tables, discussing treaties, and signing documents that pledged cooperation and peace. There were images of people gathering in protest, raising signs that called for disarmament, justice, and equality. Serelix, still shaken by the images, turned to one of their friends, a lavender-hued student named Noria. "I still don't understand, though. They've witnessed so much suffering. How do they still end up in conflict?" Noria tilted their head, thoughtful. "It's as if they live in two worlds, isn't it? One where they dream of peace and harmony, and another where they act out of fear, anger, and self-interest. I suppose they are still struggling to merge those two worlds into one." Their conversation was interrupted by the soft chiming of a notification. It was a message from their instructor, an invitation to a special field assignment. It seemed he wanted them to observe Earth firsthand, not the battles or the destruction, but the everyday lives of humans as they strove to live in peace. Curious and a bit nervous, Serelix and Noria accepted the invitation. The following week, the alien students found themselves stationed in various human cities around the world. Serelix was sent to a quiet town in the northern hemisphere, where humans went about their daily routines in peace. The streets were calm, filled with families, children playing, and neighbors greeting each other. The atmosphere was a world away from the war-torn scenes they had studied in the lecture hall. Serelix observed humans volunteering at community centers, coming together in support of one another, and organizing events to celebrate their shared cultures. He saw compassion in their actions, care in the way they tended to their communities, and kindness in their small gestures toward each other. For every story of conflict, there were countless stories of cooperation, patience, and resilience. Over time, Serelix began speaking with some of the locals. One elderly woman shared stories of her youth, recounting her memories of living through a war but emphasizing her hopes for a peaceful future. "We've come a long way, but it takes constant work," she said, her voice steady but weary. "Peace isn't something you achieve once and keep forever. It's something you have to protect every day, in the way you treat others and the choices you make." Across the world, Noria had a similar experience. They were stationed in a city known for its diversity, where people of various backgrounds lived and worked together. Noria marveled at the multitude of languages, traditions, and foods they encountered in this melting pot. Despite the different customs and beliefs, there was a sense of unity, a common understanding that they all belonged to the same shared community. Noria watched as humans celebrated each other's holidays, learned each other's dances, and shared each other's joys and sorrows. On their final day, the alien students reconvened with their instructor, each sharing what they had observed. The stories painted a picture of a species filled with contradictions. Humans were capable of incredible violence but also boundless kindness. They could be quick to anger, yet willing to forgive. They could be divided, yet drawn together by shared hopes and dreams. Their instructor listened intently, nodding. "It seems you have learned the most important lesson of all," he said. "Humanity's history may be marked by conflict, but their potential for peace is equally strong. They are, in many ways, still evolving. And perhaps, someday, they will outgrow the need for war." As the students returned to their homeworld, they carried with them not only knowledge of Earth's battles but also a deep respect for humanity's struggles and aspirations. They shared stories of humans who, despite centuries of hardship, continued to fight, not against each other, but for a brighter, more peaceful future. And in a small way, the alien students felt a sense of connection, a shared hope that maybe, just maybe, Earth and their own worlds would someday learn from one another, forging paths toward a universe where peace was not an ideal but a shared reality. Years passed, and the Alliance for Galactic Understanding expanded, transforming into something much larger than even the original vision of interplanetary peace advocates. They established a permanent headquarters on a newly designated neutral moon within a distant, unclaimed star system. This hub, named the Nexus, became a grand meeting point for worlds across the galaxy, a thriving center of culture, diplomacy, and learning, where beings from countless planets mingled and shared stories, knowledge, and dreams of the future. Within the Nexus, students, scholars, and diplomats dedicated themselves to studying and preserving each world's unique histories, cultures, and pathways to peace. The Terran Paradox, once a mere phrase, became an entire field of study within the Alliance's growing institutions, and Earth was recognized for its unique place in galactic history. Humanity's journey, from warlike beginnings to the collaborative, hopeful species they were becoming, was seen as a powerful example of the struggle for inner peace that resonated universally. Back on Earth, news of humanity's growing influence within the Alliance spurred excitement and introspection. The global population began to view itself not merely as a collection of nations but as one part of a vast, interconnected galaxy. For the first time in its history, Earth united in a way that went beyond mere political agreements. There was a shared sense of purpose and responsibility to prove that humanity could live up to its galactic role as a symbol of resilience and growth. Across the planet, humans found themselves inspired to tackle long-standing challenges, poverty, environmental degradation, and inequality, with renewed vigor. It was as though Earth itself was reaching for the stars, evolving to meet the expectations of the galaxy that had welcomed them. Earth's leaders implemented a new era of international collaboration, crafting policies inspired by what they had learned from the Solarii and other peaceful species. Wars between nations, already in decline, became relics of the past, and human societies devoted themselves to diplomacy, cultural exchange, and sustainability. Governments repurposed their military forces, assigning them to explore space, aid in disaster relief, and participate in the preservation of the natural world. Yet, the road to lasting peace was not without its challenges. Some on Earth, particularly those who feared the implications of a unified galaxy, remained skeptical of the alliance. Conspiracy theories and isolationist movements gained traction, and there were even minor skirmishes against the alliance presence in certain regions. But humanity, as ever, was learning. The majority of Earth's population embraced the opportunity to rise above old fears, and many of those who had once resisted began to see the advantages of unity. One day, during a special alliance ceremony held at the Nexus, Serelix was honored as a founding member of the interstellar peace movement. Now older and wiser, Serelix looked out at the vast gathering of beings, each representing worlds that spanned different systems, species, and histories, and felt a sense of awe. The very idea that all these civilizations were here together, learning from one another, was a testament to what they had accomplished. At the ceremony, Serelix spoke, their words translated into hundreds of languages by the advanced technology of the Alliance. When I was young, they began, I studied Earth as an outsider, and I was horrified by what I saw. But over time, I realized that Earth's story is not a tragedy, but a journey that holds lessons for us all. Humanity taught me that peace isn't born from the absence of conflict, but from the courage to confront and grow beyond it. In the audience sat a delegation of humans, some of whom had been part of Earth's own peace movement for decades. As they listened, their eyes filled with a quiet pride and a renewed sense of purpose. Earth was no longer alone. It was now woven into the fabric of something much greater, and its legacy was one of hope. And so, with the passing generations, the Alliance for Galactic Understanding became not just an institution but a beacon across the cosmos, a reminder that civilizations, no matter how different or distant, could find common ground. The influence of the Terran Paradox spread to distant worlds where conflict still simmered, sparking similar movements and hopeful transformations. Humanity, along with countless other species, continued its journey toward peace, evolving together and finding purpose in unity. In time, Earth became known not merely as a world once marred by conflict, but as the cradle of a profound, universal wisdom. That true strength lies not in conquest, but in compassion, that real courage is found in empathy, and that the journey to peace is a path shared by all beings, across all worlds, connected by the simple, yet powerful desire to build a better future together. The alien students returned to their homeworld, Solarii, with minds full of stories and hearts touched by what they'd witnessed on Earth. As they settled back into their routine, many felt a growing responsibility to share what they had learned with others in their society. Some took up roles as interplanetary historians, while others became advocates for what they called the Terran Paradox, a belief that even the most conflicted civilizations held the seeds of harmony within them. Serelix, particularly moved by Earth's complex nature, gave a talk at their planet's Council of Wisdom. With a voice full of conviction, they recounted Earth's violent past and its ongoing journey toward peace, describing both humanity's relentless drive for progress and its struggle with internal conflict. The Council, a group of elders and scholars who advised the leaders of Solarii, listened with keen interest. They had long known that peace was a delicate state, but Serelix's insights showed them that perhaps there was value in engaging with worlds unlike their own, worlds that held experiences Solarii had long outgrown or even forgotten. Earth has reminded us, Serelix concluded that evolution is not a straight line, and peace itself is not something to be taken for granted. It must be fostered and tended, especially in societies where history has left scars. In helping Earth, we might learn even more about preserving peace within our own borders. The council members exchanged thoughtful glances. They had always approached other civilizations with a sense of caution, even superiority. But Earth's story gave them reason to reconsider this stance. For perhaps the first time, they began to see the value of collaboration and understanding, rather than mere observation or intervention. As a result, the Council established a new initiative, the Alliance for Galactic Understanding, a program dedicated to fostering interplanetary relationships through shared learning rather than strict observation. Alien students from various worlds were encouraged to study each other's cultures, to seek understanding rather than analysis. Earth became one of the first partner planets, and a quiet network of exchanges began. Over the following years, small groups of humans were invited to visit Solarii under the Alliance's supervision. They shared their own art, literature, and philosophies, reminders that humans were more than their wars. Some Solarii, cautious at first, found themselves surprised by the emotional depth of human poetry, the intricate symbolism in their paintings, and the passionate idealism in their discussions about peace. Humans, on the other hand, marveled at Solarii's ancient customs and deep respect for all life forms. They were captivated by the way Solarii societies had cultivated peace over millennia and how conflict was resolved not through struggle, but through a system of dialogue that was woven into every aspect of life. These cultural exchanges blossomed, sparking hope on both sides that knowledge and empathy could bridge their differences. Over time, the alliance extended beyond just Earth and Solarii, drawing in other worlds, some that had found peace, some that still grappled with it, and some that were altogether different. Together, they created a growing, diverse network of civilizations dedicated to mutual growth. They established an interplanetary peace summit, where representatives from dozens of worlds came together to discuss solutions to their own challenges and offer support to those still grappling with violence or division. And back on Earth, this new alliance began to inspire change. The presence of alien delegates advocating for peace became a powerful symbol for humanity. People saw their world through new eyes, realizing that if other civilizations could overcome ancient conflicts, perhaps humanity could too. Human leaders started adapting some of the Solarii's methods, introducing new channels of dialogue and understanding. Young activists, inspired by stories from other worlds, formed coalitions to spread messages of unity, justice, and empathy. The seeds of the Terran Paradox began to take root across the galaxy, as more and more civilizations joined the Alliance, bringing their unique experiences and wisdom. For the Solarii, the Terran Paradox had transformed from a strange curiosity into a profound realization that the journey to peace was universal and ever-evolving, and that even in darkness, there was light waiting to emerge. And so, the galaxy grew closer, connected not by uniformity, but by a shared commitment to understanding. The alien students' early shock at Earth's combat history had sparked something far greater than they had imagined. In the end, Earth had given them a gift, a reminder that peace, though fragile, was powerful beyond measure and that, together, they could build a future where peace was no longer a dream, but a bond across the stars. As the Alliance for Galactic Understanding matured, so did Earth's role within it. Humanity continued to refine its diplomatic and cultural exchanges with other worlds, offering unique insights born of its turbulent history. Earth became known as a center for conflict resolution studies, with universities and institutes dedicated to researching, understanding, and addressing the roots of violence and division. Scholars from across the galaxy came to Earth to study under renowned human and Solarii peacekeepers, hoping to gain the skills needed to help bring stability to troubled regions within their own planets. Over the years, new generations of humans grew up knowing themselves as not only Earthlings but members of a larger galactic community. For these young people, the stories of Earth's violent past seemed almost like myths, distant memories of an age long gone. They felt a profound responsibility to ensure that the sacrifices of their ancestors had not been in vain and that the unity humanity had finally achieved would never fade. One of these young leaders, a bright and determined woman named Amara Solis, became a prominent voice within both Earth's government and the Alliance. She had been born after Earth's entrance into the Alliance and had grown up with stories of Solarii wisdom and the resilience of her own ancestors. Driven by an unwavering belief in the potential of peaceful diplomacy, Amara was instrumental in creating the first Galactic Accord on Sustainable Coexistence a universal treaty that set guidelines on resource sharing, environmental stewardship, and interspecies cooperation. The treaty was ambitious, aiming to address one of the galaxy's most pressing issues: the ethical and sustainable use of natural resources across worlds. As humanity had learned through its own environmental crises, unchecked exploitation could lead to irreversible damage. Amora, inspired by Earth's mistakes and the Solarii's centuries-old ecological practices, wanted to prevent other civilizations from suffering similar fates. At the signing ceremony, which took place at the Nexus, Amora delivered a speech that resonated across star systems. "We are each caretakers of our worlds," she said, her voice filled with conviction. "But together, we are caretakers of our galaxy. The choices we make will shape the futures not only of our children but of countless beings we may never meet. Let us not take this responsibility lightly. We stand here today because we believe that peace is not a destination but a journey, and that journey depends on our commitment to each other and to our shared home among the stars." Her words echoed through the Nexus, stirring even the most cautious leaders into agreement. The Galactic Accord was signed by representatives of over 100 species, a momentous achievement that marked the galaxy's first official commitment to unity in sustainability and peace. Over time, the Accord brought about profound changes. Civilizations adopted practices that protected their natural habitats, species that had once competed for scarce resources began to cooperate, and shared technologies allowed worlds to flourish without draining one another's ecosystems. As the years went by, the alliance continued to grow, reaching even the farthest corners of the galaxy. Earth, Solarii, and countless other worlds that had once been strangers were now bound together, sharing not only peace but knowledge, culture, and even art. The Galactic Accord inspired new works of music, literature, and visual art, expressions of the shared hopes and dreams that united so many different species. The stories of the Alliance's early days became legends, inspiring generations to come with the reminder that even the most divided worlds could find common ground. But it was more than just diplomacy that united these worlds. As civilizations grew closer, so did individuals. Friendships and families emerged that bridged species and worlds, creating bonds that transcended biology or history. Children were born and raised in multi-world communities, blending the values, languages, and stories of countless cultures. These children, known affectionately as the Starborn generation, represented the fullest realization of what the Alliance had sought to create: a galaxy where peace and understanding were lived experiences, woven into the very fabric of society. One evening, back on Solarii, Serelix, now old and respected, looked up at the sky with a profound sense of peace. They thought back to that first day in the lecture hall, when Earth's combat history had left them in shock. Now, as they gazed at the countless stars, each representing worlds that had found harmony, Serelix felt a quiet satisfaction in knowing that they had been part of a story much larger than themselves. In time, the Alliance for Galactic Understanding became not just a political entity but a living legacy, passed down from generation to generation as an unbroken chain of peace. The galaxy, once divided by light years and fear, had become a vast, interconnected tapestry, woven together by compassion, resilience, and a shared vision for the future. And Earth, once known for its long and violent history, was now celebrated as the birthplace of the Terran Paradox, a story of redemption, of growth, and of humanity's place among the stars, forever inspiring those who believed that peace was worth every struggle. Thus, the Alliance for Galactic Understanding continued to shine as a beacon in the galaxy, a reminder that even in a universe filled with differences, unity was possible. And so, across the stars, civilizations old and new carried forward the dream, a dream not of conquest, but of a galaxy bound by respect, knowledge, and a lasting, hopeful peace. The legacy of the Alliance for Galactic Understanding continued to evolve, becoming a guiding philosophy not only for governance but for everyday life across worlds. As each generation added its own experiences and wisdom to the Alliance's principles, peace and unity spread to even the most remote regions of the galaxy. What had once been seen as an unlikely coalition of worlds became the norm, a part of galactic identity. Meanwhile, Earth's role as the cradle of resilience remained central. Humanity, having emerged from its turbulent past, was a living example of transformation, inspiring civilizations that still grappled with their own challenges. Earth established a new institution within the Nexus called the Center for Interstellar Reconciliation and Renewal (CIR), where scholars, former conflict leaders, and diplomats from across the galaxy would gather to learn and collaborate. CIR hosted workshops, forums, and intensive programs to help civilizations facing crises similar to Earth's former struggles. These sessions at CIOR were more than lectures, they were interactive journeys. Participants learned not only about diplomacy and conflict resolution but also about empathy, environmental stewardship, and the power of cultural exchange. They studied Earth's evolution alongside the Solarii's ecological wisdom and other species' unique paths to peace. Leaders who once thought violence was inevitable returned to their worlds equipped with new perspectives and practical strategies. Many of these leaders transformed their societies, sparking revolutions in thought and governance that emphasized equality, justice, and sustainability. Back on Earth, Amara Solis continued her work as a prominent ambassador within the Alliance. She traveled tirelessly between planets, dedicating herself to maintaining the Galactic Accord on sustainable coexistence. Her charisma and vision united beings from all walks of life, and her speeches, translated into hundreds of languages, became rallying calls for unity across the stars. Under her leadership, Earth and other planets even formed the * Council of Young Diplomats *, a body composed of the next generation of peace advocates. These young leaders brought fresh energy and ideas to the Alliance, challenging the status quo and pushing for ever greater collaboration and innovation. The Starborn generation, raised in the era of unprecedented unity, began to shape their worlds in ways that no one had anticipated. Their friendships, families, and communities spanned planets, and they had little patience for outdated divisions. They saw themselves as the children of the Alliance, products of countless civilizations working together. Some of them became scientists who pioneered new interstellar technologies, finding ways to travel and communicate faster than ever. Others pursue the arts, creating hybrid forms of expression that wove together cultural traditions from across the galaxy, producing music, dance, and visual art that embodied the spirit of cooperation. One particular starborn artist, a young man named Kai from Earth, became famous across planets for his holographic murals. Using advanced, interactive technology, he created massive, immersive art installations within the Nexus that told the story of the Alliance's formation and Earth's journey to peace. Kai's murals portrayed scenes of ancient human battles alongside the wise councils of the Solarii and the unity ceremonies of distant worlds. Visitors to his installations would walk through entire histories, feeling as if they were part of the struggles, the victories, and the moments of profound change that had shaped the galaxy. Years turned to centuries, and the Alliance reached a milestone, its 1,000th year of peace. To commemorate this achievement, a grand gathering was planned at the Nexus, drawing dignitaries, scholars, and citizens from every inhabited world. The anniversary celebration was a stunning testament to the Alliance's enduring impact, a festival of unity where beings from every species, each with their unique ways of life, gathered to honor the legacy of peace and shared prosperity. Amara Solis, now elderly but still energetic, stood before the largest crowd she had ever addressed. As she spoke, her voice echoed across the vast expanse of the Nexus. 1,000 years ago, our worlds were fractured, divided by fear and isolation. But together, we dared to imagine something greater. We have built a galaxy where peace is not a fragile hope, but a living reality, a reality made possible by every person, every world, that has chosen understanding over conflict. As her words faded, the crowd erupted into cheers, and the sounds of celebration filled the air. Throughout the festival, beings from different worlds shared meals, danced to hybrid music from multiple planets, and exchanged stories. Together, they marveled at how far they had come and dreamed of what the next 1,000 years might hold. As the stars began to emerge in the sky above the Nexus, a symbol of the Alliance's unbreakable bond, Kai's latest mural was unveiled. This time, his masterpiece depicted not only the past but the future, a future of endless potential, where worlds continued to learn from one another, growing ever more connected. In that moment, it was clear to everyone present that the Alliance had transcended its original purpose. It was no longer just a coalition of worlds but a testament to what life could become when species chose cooperation over competition, empathy over fear. The galaxy, once a collection of isolated stars, had become a single, interconnected constellation of unity, knowledge, and hope. And as the celebration continued, the Alliance for Galactic Understanding became more than a legend. It became a promise to all worlds, past, present, and future, that peace would endure, that compassion would prevail, and that together, the galaxy could overcome any challenge it might face. It was a promise made by countless beings under countless stars, united forever by the light of a shared, unshakable dream.